Hello and welcome to the June 28th, 2026 episode of Nick's News. I'm your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're putting money into this project of ours. We're live every Sunday, and I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from sites like Industry Tap, Live Science, Positive.news, and GoodGoodGood.co, but we appreciate everything sent in by you, the Nick's Newsies. Hey, Becky. Hello, everyone that's tuning in. Thank you all so much. Hello, Becky and lurkers. Really happy to have everybody here with us. We are back on with just good news, so another fantastic good news episode lined up. Hey, Nico. We will, of course, start off with our news brew. So, darkness is as darkness does, and the days may lengthen, but the night is the home of shadows. Let's close out June with the darkest brew of the month. So, I found an absolute gemstone at Siciliano's. I don't know how long this beer was kind of tucked in the back, hidden, but here it is. Barrel-aged Lunar Lycan from Omnipollo and Angry Chair Brewing. So this is a 14.3% ABV, high octane Marzipan coffee cream Imperial Stout. It's brewed with some wild stuff, and I'm really curious to see how this is going to turn out. Supposedly, it's an absolute beast of the night, so howl at the moon and let's send June out in style. So, it looks like an Oni. Nico says, I love the bottle. I really love this bottle too. Like, this thing looks so cool. Now, it is an Imperial Stout, so we are once again going to put to work the Harpoon Imperial Snifter. Absolutely love this glass, and because it's a bottle, we get to use the Balisong bottle opener. First impressions. That's really strong. Oh boy. Let's get into the theatrics of a 5-minute pour. Pouring like motor oil. Used motor oil. Hey, Christian. Get every last drop out of there. This is really strong. Oh my gosh. Thank you very much, Becky, for liking and sharing. It's greatly appreciated. Oh, Lord. This beer is carrying everything, all of that 14.3% in that nose. Oh my gosh. This is going to be a wild ride, folks. All right. Shoutouts. Becky says, looks like a dark abyss. It's probably going to drink like one, too. Shoutouts. Shades of Hope Wildlife Refuge, located in south central Ontario, is on a mission to nurture, treat, and rehabilitate injured and orphaned native wildlife. With the goal of releasing healthy animals back into their natural habitats, they have treated almost 60,000 wild guests since opening in 2013. Shades of Hope offers a safe place for the tiniest orphaned chicks and chipmunks to coyotes suffering from mange and deer that were caught in fencing. They currently have 306 critters in their care. Like and share their socials to spread the word of this amazing organization. Donations are always welcome, and links for their sites are in the description of our video. So, to Shades of Hope Wildlife Refuge for rehabilitating almost 60,000 animals. Cheers. This might be the tastiest used motor oil I've ever drank. Holy crap. There is so much going on in this glass right now. Oh my gosh. It is like creamy and it is sweet and there's vanilla and chocolate and I am drinking the darkness of the universe right here and the darkness is really tasty. If I'm not careful, it's going to just absorb me into the glass. Oh my gosh. Wow. Happy first birthday to Mars, the pygmy hippo of I can never pronounce this one right. It's Tanganyika Wildlife Park. We've been following Mars, the pygmy hippo, for a while. It's an absolute. All these pygmy hippos, like Hugo at the John Ball Zoo, Mars, Moo Dang, they're adorable little troublemakers. Mars is just a potato that needs some extra help to get up now and then. So happy birthday to Mars, the pygmy hippo. Cheers. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Oh, lordy. Lordy, lordy. That is a powerful beer. All right. Last shout outs. Happy Canada Day on July 1st, and the happy 4th of July this upcoming Saturday. So, to Canada for Happy Canada Day, and to the United States, happy 4th of July. Cheers. Tony said, hope everyone's having a good day. Tony, I hope you're having a great day too. Thank you for that. Producer Donna said, Ciance, the leatherback sea turtle that we're following, is spending her summer in the Gulf of Mexico. News quote. Don't let anyone define you. You define yourself. This quote comes from Billie Jean King, who was born in 1943, who is an American former world #1 tennis player. They won 39 Grand Slam titles and was a member of the victorious United States team in 7 Federation Cups and 9 Wightman Cups. An absolutely amazing track record in tennis. And I really love this quote because at the end of the day, the only person who gets to say who you are is you. People can say anything they want, but the only words that really matter are the ones that are going to be coming from yourself. You define who you are and who you want to be, and then it's on you to act on that and to be that person. My recommendation, just be a good person. If you can. So again, don't let anyone define you. You define yourself. From Billie Jean King. Cheers. Bug update. As expected, Elmira has terraformed her home into a dirt mess. Basically taking the really nice landscaping that I did and destroying all of it. It's all buried. Most of the moss is gone. It's all buried under dirt. She's slowly but surely killing that spider plant, so I'm pretty sure she's just ripping its roots apart as she's tunneling. And any attempts that I've made to retrieve her water dish, which is now beneath like an inch of dirt, is met with very menacing raised claws. So I'm not fixing that tank up anytime soon. Ripley's really good. Ripley likes it when it's warm. They're out and scuttling about. And Little John has been basking on top of his bark hides. Expect pictures of that on the Instagram at some point. It's really cool to see him out and about. I mean, he's an emperor scorpion, and he's a very impressive creature. So, the Cuddle Puddle is experiencing a little bit of a breakup. One of the members, Big Tom, one of the roaches, has left the band and is sulking in the corner, doing a solo career. And Sue is an absolute menace. Sue is horrifying. From the confines of his burrow, Sue just puts his claws up. And he just waits for something to come in. It's an absolutely terrifying sight. But otherwise, everything is good in the bug world. So let's get into our good news. And our good news is broken up into 4 major categories. Those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice touchy-feely articles that we like to end on. The links for all of the articles that we are going to present are available in the description of our video. And if you could take just a second, I would really like to ask all of you that are watching to like, share, whatever you can do to help support Nick's News. One of the biggest things that continues to push us is interaction with our content. So anything you can do, be it like or sharing, is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much to all of you. So with that out of the way, let's get into Category 1, Science and Technology. We've got 2 articles in here tonight, and we call this first one, Balls to the Wall. And this was sent in by Mike. So Mike, thank you very much. I will copy and paste the link into the chat if y'all want to check this out while I read it. Scientists create a cylinder filled with steel spheres that can reduce earthquake impacts on buildings and bridges without needing electricity. This was published to Eco News on May 18th of 2026 by Eco News. What happens when a strong earthquake hits and the lights go out at the same time? A new patented device tries to answer that problem with something surprisingly plain: a hollow steel cylinder packed with solid balls and crossed by a moving shaft. Developed by civil engineering professor Moussa Leblouba at the University of Sharjah, the system is designed to reduce shaking in buildings, bridges, and sensitive equipment without electricity. A United States patent published on December 16th of 2025 says the device uses friction between steel balls and rods to dissipate vibration energy, while early lab tests reported an effective dampening ratio of about 14%. The device is not a computer, a sensor network, or a small building gadget. It is closer to a mechanical shock absorber, with a central shaft that moves back and forth inside a cylinder full of solid balls. When an earthquake, strong wind, train vibration, or industrial machine sets a structure moving, that shaft slides through the packed balls. Short rods sticking from it push against them, creating friction that turns parts of the shaking into heat and movement inside the device, instead of sending all of it into the structure. That may sound simple, and that is the point. In the inventor's words, it works through pure physics, meaning it depends on motion and contact, rather than wires, software, or a power supply. In earthquake engineering, the challenge is not only keeping a building upright, it is also limiting the swaying, twisting, and pounding that can crack columns, damage walls, break utility lines, or shake expensive equipment loose. Engineers call this energy dissipation. In everyday language, it means giving the shaking somewhere else to go, much like a car shock absorber keeps a rough road from rattling every bolt under the hood. Man, if y'all are doing the Nick's News drinking game, the number of engineering snaps that we're going to have in this article alone is going to put some of you in the dirt. Joe said phrasing. Earlier research from the National Institute of Standards and Technology has described passive dampers as tools that absorb a portion of earthquake energy and reduce the demand on structural members. That helps explain how a low-tech damper still matters in a world full of high-tech sensors. Many disasters bring more than shaking. Power failures, broken communication lines, and blocked roads can arrive together, which is why a protection system that needs constant electricity can become one more weak link. This device is entirely passive. The official patent claim says its cylinder, balls, shaft, and rods are separable, and that the energy dissipation device requires zero electrical power to operate. That could matter for bridges, hospitals, labs, and communication sites, where downtime can be more than an inconvenience. Sorry. In practical terms, the system is trying to keep doing its job when the building around it is having its worst day. One more useful claim is that the device can be added to existing structures. You don't have to just build it in the first time you have a go around with a building. You can just put them in existing buildings and other things. That is important because many buildings in earthquake prone areas were finished long before today's seismic expectations, and tearing them apart for major upgrades can be costly. The patent describes a removable setup that can be attached to structural members or equipment, so the shaking motion drives the internal shaft. The parts can also be separated, which means a damaged component could be replaced without throwing away the whole unit. That is the quiet but important angle here. For the most part, earthquake protection is not about making every building quake-proof. It's about buying time, reducing damage, and keeping important systems working after the shaking stops. The same hardware may also help with repetitive vibration from strong winds, machinery, and train traffic, the kind that people may notice as a hum, a rumble, or a floor shake during a normal workday. In laboratory work reported by the university, the damper achieved an effective damping ratio of 14%, as we said earlier. For a reader outside of engineering, that figure means the device showed a measurable ability to calm vibration rather than simply pass the motion along. The tests also used very small controlled movements, roughly 0.04 to 0.2 inches, which is why the next phase matters. The team plans to scale the design and put it through realistic seismic loading, including shake table tests with small structural models. So no, sorry. This is not a finished promise that any building can bolt on tomorrow and forget about earthquakes. It is a patented mechanical approach with early results, and its real value will depend on larger tests, cost, placement, and how engineers fit into building codes. The broader field already includes base isolation, fluid dampers, friction dampers, braced frames, and other systems that reduce or redirect shaking. The whole building design guide describes energy dissipating devices as a way to minimize shaking, while noting that such devices do not erase all damage. That context matters. The steel ball cylinder is not trying to replace good designs, strong materials, or local seismic rules, but it may add another tool for places where power-free, maintainable protection is especially attractive. At the end of the day, the most interesting part may be the ordinary hardware, because simple can be a strength if it survives the moment when everything else is failing. For now, its path from lab bench to real buildings will depend on larger tests and real-world installation plans. But this is a step in the right direction. So, to everybody involved with the testing of this really novel design, especially civil engineering professor Mosa Lebluba, and to Mike for sending in this article. Cheers. Becky's drinking nickname is Tank. They think they will be okay. All right. That's going to get us into the second article here for Science and Technology, which we called Fine, I'll Do It Myself. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to check it out. "21-year-old man saving livelihood through homemade solar panel factory." This was published to Green Plinth Publications, and it was published on May 7th of 2026 by Daniel Ikwagwa. Yeah, Daniel Ikwagwa. It might be Ikwagwu. Some of these names are going to slay me. Cuba is without fuel, without energy, and seemingly without a way out. But a 21-year-old has found a way out. Yadon Pablo Espinoza set up a homemade solar panel operation that has already equipped more than 15 electric tricycles circulating on the island's streets, increasing the vehicle's autonomy and saving the livelihood of workers who depend on them to transport goods. The installation allows the panel to provide constant and direct energy to this tricycle's motor while it is in motion, and when the vehicle stops, the received energy charges the battery. The venture was born from a simple question: what should be the autonomy of a tricycle? Espinosa realized that solar panels could provide enough power to supplement the motor's consumption during peak solar light hours, keeping the tricycles running longer without relying exclusively on the battery. With 550 to 650 watt panels and iron supports that transform into useful covers for the vehicle's roofs, the young Cuban created a solution that the island's government failed to offer. When the tricycle is in motion, the panel's energy goes directly to the motor, complementing the battery. When the vehicle stops, all the energy captured by the panel is directed to recharge the battery, which means that stops for deliveries or rest turn into free recharging sessions. The result is a vehicle that runs for more hours a day, covers greater distances, and depends less on outlets on an island where blackouts are part of daily life. Electric tricycles are an essential work tool for thousands of Cubans who transport goods, food, and passengers. In cities where public transport is precarious and gasoline is a luxury item. Without sufficient battery autonomy, many workers were forced to end their day earlier or refuse long rides and deliveries, losing income their families needed. Juanes Castro, one of Espinosa's clients who works in goods transport, says he immediately accepted the installation proposal. Users report that, thanks to the panels, the vehicles perform better and the battery does not discharge during long work days. For workers like Castro, the difference between a tricycle with and without a solar panel can be the difference between supporting their family or being stranded without income. Cuba faces one of the worst energy crises in its history, with constant blackouts, fuel shortages, and an electrical infrastructure that cannot supply demand. The economic pressure from the United States exacerbates the situation by hindering the import of oil and parts for power plants, leaving the island in a cycle of scarcity that affects everything from hospitals to food transport. In this scenario, the Cuban government began promoting electric tricycles as an alternative to gasoline-powered transport. But the solution brought a new problem. The electrical energy to charge the batteries is also scarce. It was this gap that Espinosa identified and turned into a business, offering an energy source that does not depend on the electrical grid or fossil fuel, only on the sun that shines over Cuba practically all year round. Espinosa did not receive state funding, subsidies, or formal training in any of this. The enterprise operates with the support of his father, his 3 brothers, and a friend, who together manufacture the iron supports, acquire the panels, and carry out the installations. The structure is homemade, but the results are professional. More than 15 equipped tricycles and a growing list of clients as workers see the benefits in their neighbors' vehicles. The operation reveals something about this entrepreneurial spirit that survives in Cuba despite economic restrictions. Without access to bank credit, free imports, or an organized supply chain, a 21-year-old managed to set up a micro-industry that solves a real problem for real people. Clients are already talking about equipping future tricycles with panels from day one, a sign that demand exceeds the production capacity of the small family workshop. The story of a 21-year-old saving workers with solar panels is both inspiring and revealing. Inspiring because it shows that practical solutions can emerge from where least expected. Revealing because it exposes the Cuban system's inability to solve basic energy and transport problems that affect the daily lives of millions of people on the island. The sun is Cuba's most abundant resource, and solar energy is the most obvious answer for an island that cannot import enough fuel. But while the government discusses policies and awaits external investments, a young man with iron supports and 650-watt panels is doing what he can with what he has. The scale is small, but the model is replicable, and each equipped tricycle is a worker who keeps moving, and a family that keeps eating. That is nothing short of amazing. To Yadon Pablo Espinoza, his family, and his friends, who are helping to put together solar panels for tricycles so that people can keep moving and keep supporting their own families. Cheers. All right, that's going to get us out of Category 1, Science and Technology. We're going to move on to Category 2, Health and Medicine. We've got 2 articles in here as well, and our first one is a cancer, fuck cancer article. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this out. Thousands of cancer patients in England to benefit from new immunotherapy jab. This was published to The Guardian, and it was published on May 4th of 2026 by Toby Thomas, who is the Health and Inequalities correspondent. Thousands of patients across England each year will benefit from a new immunotherapy treatment that can be used for several types of cancer, the NHS has announced. The injectable form of pembrolizumab, which can be administered in under 2 minutes, kills cancer cells by blocking a protein called PD-1, which acts as a brake on immune responses, allowing the immune system to recognize and attack cancer cells. Hey, Charlie. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Becky. This is indeed a killer T-cell article. So, gotta put the hat on. Thank you. This new form of immunotherapy will replace pembrolizumab, which is administered via an intravenous drip in a specialist clean room. Preparing and administering it can be time-consuming and expensive for NHS staff to maintain, taking about 2 hours per session for patients. Most of the 14,000 patients already taking pembrolizumab are expected to benefit from the new injectable version. Hey, Charlie. It is estimated the treatment, which will be given every 3 weeks as a 1-minute injection or every 6 weeks as a 2-minute injection, will save the NHS more than 100,000 hours of preparation and treatment time each year, which is a ton of time that can go into other treatments and helping so many more. Up to 15,000 cancer patients became eligible last year for nivolumab, an immunotherapy injection that takes 3 to 5 minutes to administer. With the addition of this treatment, there are now 2 immunotherapies available for almost 30 types of cancer on the NHS. Professor Peter Johnson, the NHS National Clinical Director for Cancer, said, "This immunotherapy offers a lifeline for thousands of patients, and it's fantastic that this new rapid jab can now take just a minute to deliver, meaning patients can get back to living their lives rather than spending hours in a hospital chair." Managing cancer treatment and regular hospital trips can be really exhausting. And not only will this innovation make therapy much quicker and more convenient for patients, it will help free up vital appointments for NHS teams to treat more people and continue to bring down waiting times. Shirley Xerxes, an 89-year-old from St. Albans, was one of the first patients to receive this new treatment on the NHS. "I can't believe how little time it took," she said. "I was only in the chair for a matter of minutes instead of an hour or more. It's made such a difference and gives me more time to live my life, including spending more time gardening." University Hospitals Bristol and Weston NHS Foundation Trust will be one of the first in England to provide the treatment, alongside the East and North Hertfordshire Teaching NHS Trust. James Richardson, the National Specialty Advisor for Cancer Drugs at NHS England, said, "This is a win-win innovation, because patients will spend far less time in hospital, and crucially, our clinical teams will have more capacity to care for others." The time saved through this change is a huge gain for the NHS and demonstrates how we are continuing to modernize cancer care for the benefits of patients. That is really incredible. To the NHS and to different companies that are producing new cancer fighting drugs, especially immunotherapies that are turning the immune system into the proper response that it should have for dealing with cancers. Um, to the NHS and to everybody, cancer, fuck cancer, and cheers on the work being done. Now for something a little more lighthearted. This next one we called Maybe the Furries Were On to Something. I'll copy and paste this into the chat for you if y'all want to check this out. Words I never thought would leave my mouth for 500. Calgary high school students develop wearable technology for those with Parkinson's disease. This was published to CBC News on June 2nd of 2026 by Kelsey Arnett. Alan Guo Lu and Lu Tong Shi aren't your typical grade 12 students. While most are either busily preparing for final exams or reveling in the fact that their high school careers are almost over, Go Lu and Shi have spent their senior year developing wearable technology that helps people battling Parkinson's disease avoid serious falls. It's our last year in grade 12, so we were like, why don't we try to kind of give back to the community? She told CBC Radio's Calgary Eye Opener. This was one of the ways that we thought of doing it. The technology, a wearable battery-powered tail equipped with built-in sensors, can detect when the wearer may be unstable and acts as a counterweight to help them regain their balance, she said. It essentially works kind of like the idea of a spine, where there are several pieces that you can attach and the tubes act as tendons, she said. In April, the Western Canada high school students won the University of Calgary Chancellor and Senate Award at the Calgary Youth Science Fair. The project was also a finalist at the Canada-wide Science Fair in Edmonton last week. There are at least 120,000 people living with Parkinson's in Canada, and the number is expected to exceed 150,000 by 2034, according to Co Curry with Parkinson Canada. The Parkinson Association of Alberta estimates roughly 15,000 Albertans live with the disease. Tremors and gait features like slowness, difficulty with balance, or rigidity are some of the more recognizable symptoms of the disease, Curry said, adding that falls are a significant concern. It's one of the most disabling features of Parkinson's, because they can lead to really serious injuries and sometimes even hospitalizations, said Curry, who is the organization's Director of Research Programs and Partnerships. If they get really bad or very frequent, it can lead to a loss of independence, accelerated decline. Having youth interested in developing solutions for the issue is great to see, Curry added. One of the biggest things we always try and shoot for is building what we call the research ecosystems in Canada for Parkinson's, Curry also added. Whether that's new young scientists, young investigators, the more people we can get into the field and working on Parkinson's research, the more we'll see big discoveries, moving faster and faster and getting in the hands of real people that need it. Why a tail, though? Go Lu said the project was inspired by his volunteer work in seniors' homes and witnessing Parkinson's patients struggling with balance. He said the tail design comes from witnessing how cats and other mammals use their tails to balance and correct themselves. I think that was a really cool phenomenon, and so that's why I sort of got into it. Hey, what if we just made a tail for humans? Golu said in testing the belt with several patients, they were able to see how the tail responded to various individual gaits and stages of progression of the disease. Learning about those factors and testing really helped us get a good design for the tail, Golu said. He added that they can also change the weight of the tail depending on how much support a patient needs and what is the most comfortable for them, although the ideal range was between 400 and 1200 grams. Users can also tailor the tail's sensitivity to their body with an app that the pair built. But the benefits of the tail extend beyond just patients with Parkinson's, she said. This tail, because it addresses balance specifically, it honestly should benefit all people who have asymmetric gait, she said. If there's trouble with balancing or if walking assists are needed, we want in the future to implement this tail with these other walking aids to be able to help people better provide an active balancing mechanism for them. She added participating in the project helped her decide to study electrical engineering when she attends the University of Waterloo in the fall. It kind of showed me how versatile different circuits can be, she said. For Golu, he's going to be studying neuroscience at the University of Calgary, where he wants to keep learning about what causes neurological diseases like Parkinson's. Parkinson's is really, really complex, right? There's a lot of things about the brain. I think there's a big intersection there, and I think that's a really cool topic. To Alan Golu and Lutong Shi for devising a tail, a mechanical tail that can help with for people with Parkinson's and gait imbalance. Cheers. All right, that's going to get us out of health and medicine. We're going to move on to category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. We've got 2 articles in here, and you know I like puns and singing article titles, so we're calling the first one, Sing Us a Song, You're the Piano Fant. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this out. Becky says, I just imagined my friend with a tail. She would freak. Producer Donna added, if you look at the pictures, it's not a very long tail. It doesn't have to be. It's only about as long as the human sacrum, so it's not really all that bad. It's not like a super long tail. It's just a little bit of mass that moves to help correct gait, so it's really neat. But back to this article. College students invent an enrichment wall for zoo elephants that plays music only they can hear. This was published to goodgoodgood.co on May 14th of 2026 by Cameron Baker. Life is pretty easy for the 4 African elephants who reside at Zoo Atlanta. If Kelly, Misholo, Tara, and Titan lived in the wild, they would be foraging for food and remaining alert to keep their calves safe from predators. But at the zoo, they don't have to worry about their survival. However, that means these extremely intelligent creatures need to find new ways to stay mentally stimulated. Zoo caretakers have built a concrete enrichment wall filled with holes for the elephants to reach through with their tusks, searching for food, treats, or other play objects. The idea is to help them engage in problem solving and critical thinking in ways that would be natural to their wild environment. And I think they meant to say their trunks, not their tusks. But Ariana Mastali, a PhD student at Georgia Tech's School of Interactive Computing, thought they could take things up a level. As a member of the Georgia Tech Animal Lab, Mastali designed an audio enrichment component to improve the zoo's interactive wall. Her design uses cameras and computer vision to detect when an elephant's trunk is inside one of the holes in the wall, which sends a signal to a nearby speaker to play a low frequency tone that isn't very loud to humans. Kirby Miller, the senior elephant caretaker at Zoo Atlanta, said elephants have sharp memories and acute senses of hearing, meaning this intentional design makes their habitats well suited to their needs. I think anything that they can participate in that gives them choice and control is great for all zoo elephants, Miller said in a statement. It depends on the elephants, but with our elephants, they can hear much higher frequencies than we can. That noise isn't that loud for us, but for them, they're feeling that noise, and they can hear much more, which makes it more stimulating for them. Mustali worked with colleagues in the animal lab to figure out how to incorporate sensing technology into the project, with the goal of enhancing the elephant's wellness. First, she tried incorporating sensing devices into a PVC pipe insert for the wall, which used a sensor with infrared beams to detect the elephant's trunks. But their strong trunks broke the insert after a day or two. Mustali persevered. They're intelligent creatures that require a lot of complexity in their habitat, Mustali said. We wanted to add to that complexity while giving them more control. The next iteration required her to pivot to the camera and computer vision to remove the risk of damaging the wall while still maintaining minimal invasion of the elephant's habitat. Then it was time to see if the elephants even liked engaging with the design. We weren't sure at first if they would care that much, so it was great to see how much time they spent at the wall, especially our less dominant females, Miller said. They seemed to like it the most. In the past, she added, the elephants used to only approach the wall when they knew there was food behind it. Once the audio enrichment system was installed, they got more curious. We would be off somewhere else, and we'd hear the speaker playing the sounds, and we knew there wasn't any food back there, Miller said. Tara had her trunk in one of the holes, just listening to the sound. That let us know they do like it, and they're very curious about it. To test her system, Mustali observed the elephant's behavior at the wall 7 days before and 7 days after the installation of the audio enrichment component. The number of times the elephants approached the wall after installation increased by 176%, and time spent at the wall increased by 71%. She calls that a success. We're providing more choice and control over their habitat so that they have more autonomy over how they decide to interact with their surrounding environment, Mustali told 11 Alive News, and hopefully that will lead to better care. Where is her full name again? Ariana Mustali, PhD student at Georgia Tech, who designed a sound component for an interactive wall for elephants so they're effectively playing elephant piano with their trunks. Cheers. That is really neat. This next one we called The Care They Deserve. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this one out. This animal rescue took one look at these abandoned puppies and knew a DNA test was needed. When you see one, you know. This was published to goodgoodgood.co on May 15th of 2026 by Megan Cook. In early April, 2 puppies were found abandoned in Prospect, Connecticut. Despite being only 4 months old, the dogs were massive, with long snouts and a certain look in their eye. Local animal control was baffled, but when Zilla Kanamala saw the story on the news, she immediately knew that they weren't just dogs. They were a canine hybrid known as wolf dogs. When you see one, you know, Kanamala told WFSB, a local news station in Connecticut. Not full wolves, Becky, but wolf dogs. Canamella is the co-founder and president of Desmond's Army Animal Law Advocates, a volunteer-run organization that combats animal cruelty and fights for animal welfare legislation. Upon hearing about the two puppies, named Barnaby and Spartacus, Desmond's Army Animal Law Advocates funded DNA kits to get them tested. The tests soon confirmed that their mother is a dog and their father is a 100% wolf. And wolf dogs are illegal to breed or own in Connecticut. Combining the two, they're living in separate worlds in one body, Canamella explained. Due to their wild nature, wolf dogs need to be in an environment that can properly care for them. They require a lot of room to run, play, eat, and sleep, without the company of other pets that may activate their prey drive. We want to thank the Prospect Police Animal Control and Woodbury, Connecticut Animal Control for taking care of them on an interim basis, despite their specialized care needs and challenging instinctual behavior, Desmond's Army posted to Facebook on April 15th. The organization added that they were proud to play a small role in rescuing these innocent animals. It isn't their fault, they emphasized. The owner likely dumped them after struggling with their wild instincts and high maintenance needs. Fortunately, Desmond's Army was able to connect to the Prospect Animal Control with a specialized sanctuary. Today, these two boys are now safe and thriving at Howling Woods Sanctuary in New Jersey, they celebrated. Howling Woods Sanctuary is a non-profit educational center and rescue that specializes in wolves and wolf dogs. We welcomed two new additions this month, Barnaby and Spartacus, Howling Woods Sanctuary posted to Facebook on May 1st. Their puppy energy has been a lively addition to the group, and it's a reminder of how much early development and socialization shape future behavior. Right now, Barnaby and Spartacus are enjoying long walks and play dates with their own kind. But eventually, the siblings will have the opportunity to join the other wolf dogs on community outreach events. These visits continue to be an important part of outreach, giving the public a chance to connect with the animals while learning about wolf dog behavior, conservation, and responsible ownership, the sanctuary said. As we move further into spring, we're looking forward to continued growth, more educational outreach, and more opportunities for the public to connect with what we do. To everybody involved with making sure that Barnaby and Spartacus get the care that they deserve, and to Barnaby and Spartacus, two really heckin' good boys. Cheers. Producer Donna said, I believe that this is the same wolf dog organization that has a veterans program helping with PTSD and reconnecting after service. If it is, I hope it is, and that is really cool. All right, that's going to take us out of flora and fauna and into category 4, the wholesome notes. We've got one in the wholesome notes here tonight. We had a ton of ideas for what to call this article. We finally settled with simply calling it a Not All Heroes Wear Capes article. But I was really vying for behind every terrible Florida man is a wonderful Florida woman. So it is a Not All Heroes Wear Capes article, though, I promise. I will copy and paste this into the chat for y'all to check this one out. And again, likes and comments, all the content, all the interaction with the content of Nick's News helps to continue to promote us into the algorithm, and I can't thank you all enough for everything you do. So, thanks again. This woman refused to leave a sea turtle's side until rescuers arrived. Thanks to her, it got a second chance at life. Becky says, I like your second choice. On February 6th, Florida local Clara Macchiacchi was running along the beach when she came across a green sea turtle that had washed ashore. Little did she know, her evening was about to turn into the craziest night ever. That is not normal, and I need to call someone, Macchiacchi said in a TikTok video, realizing that the sea turtle was struggling to keep its head above the lapping waves. When she called the Clearwater Marine Aquarium Animal Helpline, they asked her to wait beside it until their sea turtle stranding coordinators could arrive. "I'm just going to stay here to make sure no one messes with her," Makiaki said as the video continued. At one point, the sea turtle attempted to swim back into the ocean, but its flippers were weak, and it soon grew lethargic. "She's really having trouble. I don't know what to do," she said, her voice rising with concern. Very quickly, it became clear that the sea turtle might drown if Makiaki didn't step in. "I think this is illegal, but I think I have to grab her," she said. In the United States, it is illegal to touch sea turtles under the Endangered Species Act of 1973. However, wildlife experts agree that there are exceptions to the rule in extreme circumstances. Basically, if it's going to be a life or death situation for that turtle, we can deputize people to pick it up and hold on to it for us. That is legal. Andrew Orgill, a sea turtle specialist and staff supervisor at the Amos Rehabilitation Keep, has advised. There's a Good Samaritan Act as well. On that cold February day, when the sea turtle situation seemed dire, Makiaki decided to intervene and gently move it a few feet away from the waves. "Had to go with my gut on this one," she said. "I'm just going to wait it out with my little buddy here." When the rescue staff at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium spoke to her on the phone again, they told Makiaki that she had done the right thing. They told me to keep her on shore," she said, her worry growing as the sea turtle's eyes closed. In total, Makiaki stayed by the sea turtle's side for more than 3 hours. Temperatures plunged as the sun began to set, but still, she refused to leave. "I'm literally shivering. It's so cold," she said. Fortunately, at that point, a friend arrived, and she brought blankets, coats, and pizza in tow. Then, finally, flashlights shone through the darkness as Clearwater Marine Aquarium staff arrived. "Help is on the way," she cheered. "I'm sad to say goodbye, but after 3 hours, I hope she feels better soon." While they wrapped the sea turtle in a blanket, the rescuers promised that it would be well taken care of. "She'll be in a warm tank tonight," one staff member said. Makiaki soon learned that the sea turtle she saved was just one of over 30 turtles impacted by a cold snap within a single week. 15 of the turtles recovered quickly and were released on February 10th, but the remaining sea turtles needed extra time for rehabilitation, including the one that Makiaki rescued. Even after Makiaki left the beach that night, the sea turtle stayed on her mind, so she visited the Clearwater Marine Aquarium to check on her old friend, who turned out to be a boy. The biologists say he's doing well, but they still have to test his foraging skills in deep water to make sure he can be released, the TikTok user said on February 12th. To track his recovery, the aquarium named him Lengthen and grouped him with other recently cold-stunned turtles who were all named after Greek mythological figures, like Gaia, Eros, Hermes, Jupiter, and Cyclops. On March 13th, Makiaki visited the aquarium again. "He was a very sick little guy, unfortunately," she explained in a video update. "They said he's on antibiotics right now because he probably has a high white blood cell count." Despite a bout of infection, Lengthen was still showing signs of improvement. It was just a matter of time for his blood work to come back with good results before he could be released. Over 2 months later, on May 28th, the day finally came for Lengthen to return home. He was released alongside Hermes, a tank mate who had washed up in the same February cold snap and arrived with fibropapilloma tumors. Both green sea turtles were cleared for release by our veterinarian and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, the FWC, the Clearwater Marine Aquarium said in a Facebook post. "We are thrilled to see these turtles healthy and back home in the wild." It was a very happy ending for viewers who had been following Lengthen's story since the beginning. "You saved his life," one TikTok user wrote beneath the original video. "Thank you." "Most people would not have stayed that long or cared," another commented. "Thank you, Clara." "This is probably the first time in history a documented case of a green sea turtle experienced a pizza party on a beach," someone else joked. So that's pretty historic. To Clara Makiaki, and to the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. The former for staying with a green sea turtle for 3 hours to make sure that it stayed alive after a cold snap knocked it senseless, and to the aquarium for rehabilitating it and so many others. Cheers. Charlie says, my brother got scared by a manatee down in Clearwater when it wrapped itself around his leg. He freaked out and took off out of the water. He thought it was a shark. Yes, producer Don also said, cheers to the BFF who brought food and coats. Because Florida, it's never cold in Florida until it's really bad, and then it's cold. So, that was really good. That's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Knicks News YouTube channel. We're live every Sunday, and our next episode will be on July 5th of 2026. We encourage participation, so by all means, you can send in messages or post suggestions for shoutouts, news quotes, news brews, and especially good news articles that we can present on future episodes of our show. If possible, if you send a bunch, please spread them out across our 4 major categories, which again are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice ones we like to end on, like people waiting around to make sure that sea turtles get to a safe place. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram or email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are in the description of the video. Feel free to like, subscribe, and comment on our content across all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, so that we can continue to get good news and joy out into the algorithm. Please, no SEO improvement advertisements. We're not interested. It's because of everybody here and all the interaction that you have with our content that we continue to grow across all of our platforms, and I can't thank you all enough. From the Knicks News team, seriously, thank you all very much for everything you do with our content. It is greatly appreciated. So, as always, thank you again. Have a great night. I love you all, and I will play us out.